And we're back. This is everything I got for the month of December 2023. Little late getting this video up just because I was trying to wait for a day that had better natural lighting, but it's pretty gray here this month. So this is as good as going to get. Starting off, stacks looking pretty good. You know, lots of books still coming. I've added quite a few more books just with the Marvel Ultimate stuff coming out again. So I may have to do a bit of a cull. I don't want to get too out of control with the monthlies because they pile up real fast. But kicking things off, issue 5 of the Sacrificers. This is coming up on 6 issues, and as I always say, I give every book 6 issues. This one ends with not like a twist, but quite the ending. It's quite the banger. A lot of stuff is kind of coming to fruition of like where the sacrifices are going, what they're being used for, how these rich people and royal families tie into it, and yeah, it's very much it's a really good story so far. The art is killer on it. Definitely gonna keep going past 6 issues, that's for sure. I'm very curious to see where issue 6 lands and then kind of what the next arc kicks off as. This could end in 6 issues. Like this could be a short series, but I could see this being longer as well. So we'll kind of see. Rick Remender usually does longer books, but enjoying it so far. Moving on, God's issue number 3. Like most Charlie Hickman stuff, a lot of new concepts are being introduced. There's a lot of world-ending events being built in the backgrounds, and there's a lot of people talking. So it's a lot to kind of keep on top of, but I'm really enjoying it still. I've Doctor Strange is a bit more of a prominent role in this book than I thought originally, which is good. I'm a big Doctor Strange fan. I do like the new character Win. I like this idea of these two kind of overseeing factions that kind of, one's very much everything in the universe that we know was created by science, or everything in the created world is kind of like magical, mystical in a way, and how they're kind of at war, but they're kind of in this truce for the last 100 or so years, and the end times are coming, obviously. So again, like most Hickman stuff, a lot of stuff is kind of getting set up, and we'll see a payoff in like the months to come, which is fine. I'm a big fan of Hickman, and I'm curious to see how this might tie into other stuff. I don't think Hickman's setting this book up as some way to kick off some other future events, but when he was writing some stuff for Shield before he was on like Fantastic Four and the Avengers, he does tie a lot of stuff together. So who knows? Maybe if he takes over another Marvel book, but so far so good. Really digging it, sticking with it. Issue 5 of the plot holes. This is the last issue. It wasn't a 6-issue series like I assumed or thought. It was 5, and it has a really nice ending. Story gets wrapped up real nicely. Everyone kind of gets a nice happy ending. The plot holes live on to fight another adventure, and I guess it kind of sets up a sequel. Nothing like major cliffhangers, but it's got like a nice natural conclusion. We're like, I would read another plot hole story if Sean Murphy wants to do it. But Sean Murphy is moving on to Zorro next, which is also, I think, 4 or 5 issues. Yeah, which should be pretty cool. I don't know. And then maybe he'll go back to the Batman stuff he's been working on. We'll see. But I like the nice change up. He's not just always doing Batman. He's doing some other stuff. So good series overall. I'd recommend that. Hellboy Winter Special. Every year there's a winter special from Hellboy. They're always really nice, kind of one and done stories. This one ties into a lot of the other stories I've gone throughout this year. So there's a lot of references to the Hammer Thor story, and some other characters he's met along the way, which is really interesting. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I don't think there's ever been a bad Hellboy Winter Special. Not that I feel there's ever been a bad Hellboy comic, but I love Hellboy. That's just my opinion. Space Usagi, issue 1. So this is just Usagi Yojimbo literally in space. Like, still a samurai, still has, well, in this one, the emperor that he's fighting for, the clan he's with is still pretty much all alive. And they get sabotaged, and he needs to escort the prince to meet the princess of another faction so that their marriage will bring peace, right? So it's interesting so far. Again, it's more Stan Sakai, which is great. So I'm always down for that. It's a fun little story. Immortal Thor number 5. So another 5th issue, and I usually give most books 6. I do like Al Ewing. He's a writer. I really enjoy stuff in Marvel. Like his Defender stuff is really good, and some of the stuff he did in there with Loki ties in this book. The art's fantastic. This issue features the new Thor Corps, so Thor has to fight Tyrannus, and by doing so, he's empowering all these other people who have held Mjolnir with Mjolnir. Like they have to toss it back and forth to keep the charge, to keep the power. It's kind of an interesting little fight, but it's all kind of a ruse to trick Tyrannus as well. But there's this stuff happening in the background that I'm just not sure with this like Minotaur guy. The Executioner shows up, the Enchantress is there, and then I just read they're going to change the name of the book to something else that ties into what's happening. So I'm officially on the fence with this one right now. I'm enjoying it. It's really it's good, but as I mentioned, there's so many other books coming out. Like I'm getting every Ultimate Marvel book, and I feel like I have to make a choice between getting all those books, which I'm really excited for, like a new era of Ultimate Comics, and I really like some of the concepts and the characters, um, especially Jonathan Hickman's Spider-Man. Like that book is just going to be like, if I have to make a choice between Jonathan Hickman writing Spider-Man or anything else, Jonathan Hickman's Spider-Man is going to take that. So I'm going to give Thor a couple more issues. Give it another issue. Give it a 6. See how this goes. But yeah, I never read The Immortal Hulk, so I don't know if that kind of ties into that Minotaur guy or not. But yeah, I'm liking this. Like I said, I'm just on the fence. It's on the block of getting cut right now, depending on how the other books turn out. Moving on, regular Usagi Yojimbo. So this is just continuing stories of classic Usagi. He's still with his cousin. They're traveling through the mountains. They're being hunted by demons and ghosts and yokai. Fun stuff. This is part 3 of 5 of a story called Ice and Snow. They've also started doing the classic numbering. So this is issue 272 of Usagi Yojimbo. And this arc is definitely come to an action end. I'm curious because this demon guy that Usagi, let me see if I can find him here. J. Yeah, this character's been around in Usagi Yojimbo for a long time. I was trying to think of his name. Jay. Trying to think about how you pronounce it in Japanese, but I don't think this will be the last time. I don't think this will be a story where he gets defeated. I think obviously Usagi's going to win the day and him and his cousin will escape. But yeah, again, really enjoy it. Transformers issue 3. Man, oh man, dude. Daniel Warren Johnson is just, he's got the Midas touch in my opinion right now. I think every book he's done is just better than the one he's done previous. And this is such a love song to Transformers, and it's just awesome. It does tie in a bit more to G.I. Joe. Duke does show up for a couple panels. I think, is it in this issue? I'm trying to think. Yeah, so Chip's dad is like, oh, he sees Starscream and he goes and gets suited up and he's going to fight robots. Cliffjumper shows up to help out. They start attacking him thinking he's a bad robot. He's not. And then I want to say Thundercracker. I can never remember. Outside of Starscream, I can remember the other Jet Decepticons, what they look like on their actual names. But he shows up. Optimus Prime just fucking plows through him. Like, what I'm really enjoying about this is the Autobots right now are the underdogs. You know, they are beaten up. They don't have the Energon. Starscream and his crew have the Arc 1. They're already processing Energon to raise more Decepticons. Oh yeah, they blast off Optimus's arm. The humans blast off Optimus' arm with an RPG, which is rad. And then Optimus plows. He starts beating, I'm going to say Thundercracker, with his arm. It's awesome. But yeah, is it this one that Duke shows up? I'm thinking out loud here. It was last issue. Duke shows up. He's like in a jet that's chasing down Starscream, and then gets caught, and he has to escape, eject. But yeah, so far so good. This is great. It's only issue 3. I don't see myself dropping this book whatsoever. It's amazing. It's living up to my internal hype. But I'm curious about the G.I. Joe stuff because I saw some previews. They keep having these previews of the Cobra Commander book, and they had it for Duke for a while. Yeah, we'll kind of see how that goes, but I'm definitely sticking Transformers. I guess at some point there's going to be like more of a crossover. I hope the books stay a lot more separate they can kind of have their own storylines, like Transformers one way, G.I. Joe's in one way, but we'll see how that goes. That's all the singles though. Pretty short stack, but I did get a few trades. Nothing as crazy as last month. First up, I got this book, Arcade Kings, done by Dylan Burnett, with a couple other folks working on it. This is a really fun book. I remember seeing this in the previews, and I was on the fence about picking up the monthly, and I was like, I'll just wait for the trade. I'll keep reading the solicitations to see how the story pans out. And it's a ton of fun. Two brothers, they live in this kind of like, they live on an island where there's this fighting champion who goes in retirement, and they're both orphans who are adopted by him, and they start training. Fast forward years later when they're kind of grown up and they've been like genetically tested on to get stronger, and then they kind of go in the world. They try to escape their, the ultimate fighter, who's not the best adopted dad. He's not the best dad. He runs an evil organization, you find out. They try to get the kids to come back. And then it's just the two brothers trying to find each other. Lots of fighting, lots of action. It's a fun book. It definitely ties in like the idea of like arcades and fighting games, which is fun. Sets up a really good sequel. Like, again, not on a cliffhanger, just like, hey, this could be a lot of fun if they do it again. So I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. And if they do a second volume, I'll definitely wait and pick that one up as well. Really liked it. Moving on, Where the Body Was, the new Brubaker and Phillips book. As the cover says, a masterful told puzzle box mystery with fiercely beating human heart. These guys always do mysteries. That's their thing, like noir mysteries, whodunits. This is a whodunit. There is a body, and it was found, and then it's like, who killed this person? But it's also very much about all the people that live on this block. They actually drew a map here, which is kind of cool. And their stories, and how, what secrets do neighbors hide, but not, well, yeah, in a nefarious way. But then there's also a bit of just children growing up. They do this great little bit where, this little girl, for example, you actually flash forward and you see her as an adult talking about what that summer was like. Same with some of the other characters, you get a bit of that as well. And then the epilogue is really nice. You see like where every character is at now, kind of like because it takes place in the 80s. So where are they now, basically? But it was really good. It does have a lot of, fiercely beating human heart. I would definitely agree with that. It's kind of like there's this theme of, we think back to our past and remember the good old days. Like, were they as good as we remember them? Or is that just our idea of how good they were? Were we actually as nice as we were? Were we friendly, whatever? It's really good. Again, it's Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Everything they do, I love. I would give like 5 out of 5 stars. Everyone should buy everything they do. This is good too. And again, they're publishing it, through Image, but it's on their own. Like, it's a one done story. It's great. Yeah, can't go wrong. Then finally, the book I've actually been waiting a long time to come out just to finish up this series, Kaiju Max Volume 3. This is the kaiju size edition. The trades for this have already come out, but I am a sucker for just like oversized books. I love them. Just, you get more art, you get more detail. You pick up all the details and stuff. This is all just a fun series. It's basically if there was a prison where they sent kaijus that they catch. And it's kind of run by this like super Sentai police force that can grow big and fight them. And there's all like the inner politics within the prison. There's obviously gangs, there's drugs, there's crooked cops, and then it's like what's happening on the outside of the prison, and it's wild. And there's a ton, again, because this is the kaiju version, you get a bunch of stuff in the back. Obviously like covers, you get breakdowns of all the different characters, you get who they're referenced to from like classic kaiju movies, covers and stuff like that as well. But like I said, I was very much looking forward to this just to wrap this series up, because I've got the first 2 volumes and I've been waiting, I feel like, over a year to get this one, but well worth the wait. So, but that's everything. It's a pretty short month for December. I guess, everything kind of came October, November, so things will die down. January is quickly approaching. The books I get for January are quickly approaching. They should be arriving like in the next, probably like late next, about a week from now, from me filming this video. So very much looking forward to that stack because the new Ultimate Spider-Man by Jonathan Hickman's in there, and that's a book I've been waiting for since it was just even rumored about. I feel like almost a year ago. So, as always, let me know what you think. Send me your cheers, send me your jeers, and I'll see you next month.